Hi, Tom.
Hi, Pat.
Happy holidays.
And to you too.
Oh, why, thank you, sir. I just, this time of year, it gets harder and harder to really just take a step back and take a deep breath. And I just was curious if you wanted to take a moment to relax with me to kind of take stock and take it all in.
Yeah, I would love to. I really hold our relaxation sessions really close to my heart, and I'm looking forward to relaxing with you.
Cool. Because who doesn't enjoy being centered at the end of the day? I'd like to start this week by sitting in my living room at home during the holidays, and it's snowing, and the lights have just been hung on a fresh Fraser fir tree, and there's a smell, and fresh cookies baking in the kitchen, and I just begin to close my eyes.
As you close your eyes, you hear the Netflix special of the crackling fireplace loop playing in the background, and you just keep thinking, there's no place like home for the holidays.
And then as I take a sip of my cocoa, it burns my tongue a little bit, but I've never not done that, so that feels normal and good and tradition-like. And I take a second sip, and I take a deep breath, and I reach my arms and legs out as far as they'll go, and I just laugh and laugh.
But as you reach your arms out, you forget so quickly that you were just holding a cup of piping hot cocoa, and you just spill it like all over yourself, and it burns. You think maybe second degree. You think, man, that's a really efficient microwave. Why did I put it in so long? All you know is that it hurts real bad.
And as the cocoa majestically spills like a waterfall in Yosemite National Park, down your couch and over your walls and through the woods to grandmother's house, if you will, it gently spills ever so majestically into the power socket in which you've plugged all of your exterior Christmas tree and interior lights into this holiday season. And as the liquid drips in, it creates this sense of holiday warmth in the form of numerous sparks, as electricity in the form of sparks and magic of the holiday season begins to fly across your living room. Meanwhile, your eyes are closed, trying to embrace the warmth and sanctity of being centered.
So, you sit there, eyes closed, arms burning. You think, man, this Netflix special fireplace crackling has gotten pretty loud, and man, it feels realistic this year. It is so hot in here. I feel like I'm actually sitting in front of a wood-burning fireplace, and you just wonder, damn, it's hot in here. What is going on?
And as you open your eyes, you realize the fire has reached the tree itself, and that thing goes up like a motherfucking tinderbox. And at this point, you begin to realize it's too late. And you look up to the sky and you curse your Lord, and you look down and you curse your Satan, I guess. And you begin to become one with the fact that you are going to die this holiday season. And you focus on becoming centered and okay with the notion of sweet release. And you have one last sip of cocoa in your cup, and somehow that becomes meaningful to you as the flames spread ever so quickly, exponentially quick, and your house is crumbling around you.
And as the firefighters make it to your house, 2 minutes too late, all they see is a pile of embers, a pile of burnt Christmas trees, Christmas presents, and they wonder, if only he hadn't stretched so hard in an attempt to become so centered, none of this would have happened. What an awful holiday experience.
Until, of course, they stumble upon, totally untouched, your collection of action figures from over the decades, and they give them to kids in need, and they have a lot of fun with them. And it's a happy holiday for many others. It's kind of like that whole train, would you kill one or a group if you had control of the lever thing. Anyway, happy holidays, everybody. You want to start the show?
Yeah.
Cool.
So, are we just going to die every time from now on?
I don't know. Last time we died, and it felt like that's the logical conclusion for every single time we relax. I don't know if this one was too forced, but it's fun to try to be centered with you, especially around the holidays, Tom. Happy. I guess we're doing this a touch early, but you're visiting Ohio next week. And we're probably going to be a little busy doing that and everything, so I figured we'd get this out of the way and kind of get into the reason for the season, the mood. How you feeling? How have you been?
I'm feeling okay. I am feeling a little anxious about it getting cold finally. It's dropping down to the 20s and 30s, and I still don't own a pair of pants, nor can I afford them at the moment. But I'm looking forward to seeing you and seeing Zach. It's going to be a good time. It's going to be probably, I'm hoping for one of the best Christmases in a couple years now.
Because of the visit or for other reasons?
Because of the visit, and I've really enjoyed Christmas last year with Megan. It was just the two of us. We didn't see family. We didn't go anywhere. We didn't do anything. And I'm excited for that again. I mean, we're both kind of in like not a great financial position still. But last time we didn't have jobs or anything, I don't think. So there was a little stress around the holidays, but now that everything is kind of falling into place, I think it'll be a good one.
Yeah, I think so too. For all the reasons you just mentioned, because your happiness is my happiness. Now that we're centered, it's kind of like E.T. in that plant. Like, I feel how you feel. So,
ouch.
Nice. Wow, that was oddly on like terrific E.T. impression. I was very impressed. So we had a couple housekeeping notes before we get into the show, which is, I guess we can't call it a very reminiscent Christmas again, unless that's our thing now. I guess more on that later as we go through. But Captain and Admiral, is there a release date yet?
No, I did talk to Jeremy, though, my friend from Podcast Movement. We had like an hour and a half Skype call today. I actually took today off of work.
Whoa.
I had to wait for FedEx to deliver a package. And by the time
present?
they got here, what was that?
A present?
For myself, I got the iPhone 10.
You didn't get pants?
No.
Okay. Dope.
One is clearly more
keeping it trill. Or whatever.
There's a reason I can't afford the pants right now. I'll talk about that in
sure.
a minute, but
I'm sure everyone's dying for an explanation. I am catching cold more frequently as the seasons change. But
anyway,
portrait mode is life-changing.
So I talked to Jeremy. We kind of had a bit of a strategy figured out. I think I mentioned last week it's like his job to help people launch their podcasts. So
sounds like a cool job.
We talked. We came up with some ideas. It was just kind of laying the groundwork for some possible marketing strategies, and I need to collect some information, talk with Kyle and Kylie, which I'll be doing with you guys soon, and take it from there. So productive day. But yeah, still no like actual release date. I wouldn't be surprised if it's early February rather than late January, like we were kind of hoping. Yeah, early first quarter 2018.
Sure,
we can say that.
I also saw the notes about the what you guys are doing with Ron Carnage. It sounds like there's a rewrite going on. That's very exciting.
Yeah. So
do you care to speak to that point, Mr. Kelly?
The team here is going back to chapter 1 because we were having conversations thinking like, all right, this is a really funny story. There's kind of an adventure, but like, what is the actual story? Like, is there a plot? So we kind of took it back to square one to think like, if there's a structure or a format for writing a story, and we just laid it down to those elements, figured out what the problem was, what the hero's tale was, where he's going, why he's doing it, all I
saw that there was
adversity.
A bit of a twist, I guess, that had developed, and for some reason my mind immediately went to like a bad early 2000s made for teen movie like American Pie or something, like him realizing what he realizes and there being a record scratch and then Sum 41's In Too Deep starting to play or something like word. and I'm into the... Like, everyone's like, whoa, man. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we were, or it was kind of just being written. I'm saying we, like I'm actually writing something. I'm really not.
But instead of like a Lord of the Rings theme or like style or feel to whatever it becomes, I would just love for it to be American Pie for no reason. Like, oh, no fucking way, man.
We developed a really good plot and a pretty good twist, in the climax of the book there. And also like there's a purpose for why everything is happening right now. And since we didn't really have that before, we're going back through to the beginning and kind of alluding to some of the things that will happen later now that we know where it's going. Because before we were just kind of, it was just funny stuff being written, but now there's actually like a plot, a purpose. There's an end point, I guess.
Because it started as an utter and complete kind of joke, right? It just kind of happened.
Right.
After the one podcast we did where we did not have a plan for the episode and it became that, I guess. Anyhow, do you want to go into our main topic of the show this week?
Yeah.
Cool. I guess there's no better place to go. So this is going to be a take it or leave it. And we're just going to go through Christmas traditions. And do you mind if I just pose these questions to you and then respond after you respond?
Yeah, I'm just letting you know right now. I don't know if this is going to make any sense. I like routine, but I hate tradition. Does that make sense at all?
If you could give me an example of each, I think I'd be closer to understanding what you mean.
Okay, so I like routine, which is based on, let's just say like my daily, your daily routines. I try to base it on efficiency and what's enjoyable. And you do that, right? And it changes over time for whatever your need is at the moment.
We talked a little bit about that on the Thanksgiving episode where you think a turkey, right? We talked about how a turkey might not be worth the ends don't justify the means necessarily.
Right. And so tradition is like something that you've done for a long period of time. You don't question why you do it. You just do it because you've always done it. I think there's maybe it's like a grander scale or a longer timeline. It's something that you kind of feel pressured to do, whereas a routine is something that you make for yourself, I guess. So I hate tradition because I feel like it ends up being a lot of people doing something that they don't necessarily want to do, but they have to do it, right?
I get what you're saying, and if you've heard this show before, you won't be surprised to hear me say that I disagree respectfully. That there's something about getting to do all those things again with the people you love that some years it's bad, some years it's good, and that's kind of, I don't know. Was it 50 Cent, Mr. Curtis Jackson, that said you wouldn't enjoy the sunshine if it wasn't for rain? Anyhow. Would you like to go into the segment now based with our loose understanding of how we value our traditions as well as early 2000s rap albums? The Massacre was a classic. It just has to be said.
Sure.
Something you and I have discussed at length.
All right, let's go for it.
Okay. Well, we're just going to keep it simple. To start, snowmen. Take it or leave it.
Ooh, I'll take it, but I'm not usually
not
one
happy
to go outside
about
to make them. But I don't fucking like it.
Right.
I'm not one to go out and spend a lot of time making one.
It's tough to get the right kind of snow.
Yeah, there hasn't been much.
And I don't know if
either.
People listening to this, if it's mostly people from area or not, but coming from one of the top 5 snowiest places in the U.S., statistically speaking, there's a difference between what kind of snow you can have and whether or not it's even worth your time to try to roll up the base of a snowman, which to me is the most frustrating part.
Yeah. I mean, it just seems like a lot of work, and you know how I feel about that. But
you're gonna take it, and I need you to give me the reason why.
I like the aesthetics of it. I'm not going to be the one to make it, though.
Interesting.
If you said building snowmen, I would leave it.
If what?
If you said building snowmen, I'd leave it.
Oh, so you're maybe a snowman ornament you're in favor of?
No, I'll have a snowman in my yard. I'm just not making it.
It seems like you're leaving it, sir. Do you understand the rules of the game?
Snowmen as an idea, I'll take it, but the act of building them, leave it.
Okay, understood.
What about you?
I am more of a snowball throwing enthusiast. I like to just try to hit stuff with them, people or trees or things. But again, it's so rare for the snow to be so perfect that you can roll a really good base for a snowman. I mean, it's a waste of time. It's almost like a mythical situation or something. Like the fluffy stuff has to fall and it has to get a little warm so it kind of melts in on itself or something. Or it's just so rare to get the fluffy flakes. I might leave it just because it's so hard to get the appropriate conditions to do it well. Okay. If Zach were here, he'd reference a recess when we were in middle school where we were going to make snowmen, but instead he just rolled like for 50 yards the base. So it was far too large for any of us to even get on top of. So instead what we did was rolled a bunch of them into a circle, kind of like a faux Stonehenge thing, and just made this fort of giant 5 foot tall. And it was just like a Herculean effort of like 20 fourth graders trying to, anyway, it didn't melt for like a while. It was pretty impressive. Anyway,
that's awesome.
It was so good and beautiful, but it's so rare to get where you can just roll it and it like exposes the grass as you roll. You know what I'm talking about?
Man, I'm gonna leave it. I was playing Zelda yesterday and I was up in the Hebra Mountains and I got a perfect snowball. I rolled it down a hill and it rolled for like a mile and just got bigger and bigger. It was dope.
That does sound nice. Well, that was in the game Zelda?
Yeah.
Oh, well. It is joyful. It's just hard to... I think I'm more frustrated by it than I have gotten joy out of it in my life. So I'm going to leave it, but only because I love it so much and I want to do it more. So it sounds like each of us are making our decisions in an inverse fashion. But anyhow, moving on. Speaking of snowmen and Frosty... we'll throw this one out there. Claymation holiday specials.
Oh, God.
And you can point out specific ones that you will take or leave, or you could blanket statement disavow all of them, or do the opposite of that.
Maybe not claymation, but stop motion, right?
Yes. I guess I'm now realizing I have a very limited understanding of either.
I think
Wallace and Gromit would have been claymation. And stop motion would have been Rudolph?
Well, they're all stop motion. Claymation is just like stop motion where they use clay. I think I might just be pulling this out of my ass here, but I think claymation is just a medium for stop motion.
Okay. Well, I think for the purpose of this exercise, we're talking about Santa Claus is coming to town, Frosty, Rudolph, et cetera, et cetera.
I'll take it. But I feel like it's been a while since we've had snow on Christmas, and I feel like if you're watching that movie when there's no like a physical blanket of snow outside, it's just weird. Like I don't know.
We also haven't lived in Erie for years, you and I.
Yeah,
so it's
true.
I haven't had an opportunity to. I also haven't watched it on the VHS my parents recorded theirs onto. You know what I mean? So I almost miss the 90s commercials and weird snippets of Erie, like 80s era newscasts that would end up on those VHS tapes.
Gotcha,
like we had a very specific collection of them on a VHS, including the old animated Garfield show's Christmas special, which is, I remember being so fucking good. And the Puzzle Place and things like that. Patti LaBelle was on the Puzzle Places one. Anyway, so like on our Rudolph, it would be like the old WSEE Gary Drapp show sports highlight teasers and stuff.
Right.
And it's like super early 90s hairdos and outfits. And I almost miss those as much as the specials themselves, because now they sell them in, I hate to sound old, but I feel like the DVDs that have all the specials just there readily available is less satisfying than popping in a VHS, or no, having to pop your VHS into a rewinder machine that does it quicker, and then fast forwarding past the weird lame one about the girl and the doll and the evil owl that like kills the doll and the girl sleeps and is homeless. It was a weird one. Anyway, but it was on the VHS. It was special because I always had to be aware of it, I guess. Anyway, I guess I've gotten less joy out of them over the years, but I do like them. Do you have a favorite, if you don't mind me asking?
Of the stop motion ones?
I believe it's claymation, Tom. No, just kidding. But yes, is there one that you fancy the most?
I feel like I didn't realize they were multiple different ones. I just thought they were all like the same one. Is it the Rudolph one where he finds the abominable snowman and the guy with the
Yukon
pickaxe?
Cornelius. Yeah,
dude, I love that one.
It's a classic with the elf that wants to be the dentist and whatnot.
Yeah.
Had you ever seen the Heat Miser one? Which one is that?
Okay, so I remember being at Eaton Park one day with Zach and like all the Edinburgh music scene kids.
Right.
And he's
Which
like, dude, listen to
maybe
my
like
ringtone.
2% of our listeners will even know remotely what.
No, this is for you. This is for you, not them.
I appreciate that.
So, I'm just setting the scene for you.
Sure.
And Zach was like, dude, listen to my ringtone. And it was the Heat Miser.
Yeah, I remember that.
Like, what is this, dude? I've never even heard of this
Like
before.
he would have just gotten a razor or something, and we would have been like, oh,
right.
Wait, you got to choose the ringtone? Get
So
out of here, dude.
I remember that was the first time I was ever aware of it. I've never seen it though.
Yeah, I tried to find it later in life, watching some specials, with a couple friends over. We were like too old, but we were like, oh, let's watch them, tradition, whatever. But I ended up watching Santa Claus is Coming to Town for the first time as like a late teen. And that has a very young Kris Kringle in it with red hair. And he visits, is it Sorrow Town? Is it literally Sorrow Town? Or is it Somberville maybe?
I have no idea.
Where the person in charge is like this Eastern European, but like leader called Burgermeister Meisterburger. And he just hates joy in toys and outlaws them. And Kris Kringle tries to sneak them to the school children. And I'm waiting for the miser to come out this whole time. And he never comes. So I watched like 40 minutes worth of Burgermeister, totally loving it. And I had forgotten. Anyway, I still don't think I've seen the Heat Miser one, whatever that's called. But Santa Claus is Coming to Town quickly became my favorite because of Burgermeister Meisterburger. What is he? Oh, yeah. Like Kringle slips him a yo-yo. He's like, yo-yo, I love yo-yos. And he goes like, wait, a toy? I've been bamboozled. I don't know. It's just the best I've ever seen. I'm going to take it for sure. Although I have grown further from Rudolph. I will say that.
Okay, sure.
Although now that I mentioned that, I want to rewatch it. Anyway, we should keep this flowing. We'll keep it simple with this next one. Pumpkin pie with a subset question of what is your ideal dessert during the holidays?
Pie is good, but it's not what I'm going to go running for. Pumpkin pie is okay if it's like doused in real whipped cream.
Whoa. Okay. I have to say I respect the real whipped cream comment.
Like a solid 1-to-1 ratio of.
I honestly can't knock that at all.
Right? But apple pie's dope. Megan and I just housed a pretty good pecan pie that we bought, like made from the grocery store.
I feel like that's one of those things you can only appreciate later in life, kind of.
Yeah.
The pecan pie. I definitely didn't get into it until way late.
It's mostly the brown sugar for me. It's a lot of brown sugar and butter.
Oh, okay. So are you taking or leaving pumpkin pie?
I'll take it.
Okay, yeah, me too. I mean, that's kind of an easy one, but
again, I'm not going to make it, right?
Well, who's going to be delivering all these holiday treats to you, Tom? You got to take some initiative, man.
I'll leave it all then.
Well, I got to ask, what do you want to do actively during the holidays?
See,
would it feel more festive if there was a pie in front of you and a snowman just outside your window?
I guess so. I mean, I'm not a huge sucker for tradition, so I'd rather kind of just do the same thing I do every day. Do
you even enjoy the holidays?
I do. I think I enjoy like Christmas Day.
Well, real quick, for the listeners that haven't been with us since our last, the very reminiscent Christmas that we did a year ago, you spent a significant amount of time that year describing how holidays weren't your favorite. Am I recalling this correctly? How you don't exactly have years worth of fond memories? Right.
Yeah. It was always my mom's side of the family. They're all good people, they never did anything wrong or like they were never mean to me, but I never quite fit in. I feel like, I think they all loved me, but it was always just like, man, I feel like I'm around a bunch of people I can't relate to and I'd rather just be playing Pokemon, like when I was younger, or I'd rather be with my friends.
Well, who
when I
can
got
blame
more
you for
into
the
high
Pokemon
school.
thing? I mean,
Right.
it was the best.
Yeah. So, holidays at my dad's house are dope, I guess. But they like definitely have a different tradition than most people. I forget what I was saying. But yeah.
No, I
anyways.
had asked you. There were no traditions that you really recall fondly. It sounded like a lot of family gatherings that were not something that you were able to find joy in.
Right.
Plus, it sounded like if you don't mind me asking, as a child of divorce, was the multiple event thing ever real, and was it ever a hindrance? Was there just more travel involved, and was that kind of a headache?
Yeah, it was exhausting. I mean, I would go.
Did you ever have to like portion out what you ate throughout the day?
Well, I mean, when I was younger, I didn't really have to worry about it. I could eat as much as I wanted, pretty much. But I would definitely have 2 or 3 Christmases, and then I would go to my dad's the day after.
Jesus.
Same with like any holiday, and
Sure.
I loved going to my Uncle Joe's for Christmas, which is on my dad's side, because everyone there is just like, it's all a bunch of Polish people, and they're all really loud and funny and whatnot. And theirs was more like festive, like everyone, let's just like have fun and do whatever we want. Whereas like my mom's, like the Irish Catholic side, was like more of like, this is a traditional thing and we're going to do everything just so. And there was like a lot of pressure for it to feel like Christmas, I guess. Or holidays, you know what I mean?
When we used to go down to Greensburg for my mom's Thanksgiving some years, which was always held the Friday after. I remember my Aunt Pat, bless her heart, I'll say this, but she would have this like page-long single-spaced prayer that some poor sap would have to read out loud with everyone in the room gathered around. It's like far too small, like living room, house, dining setup. But good food, great people. Like, it was just a good old-fashioned family gathering. But like 10 minutes of it inevitably every year was going to be someone reading this like old Irish blessing. And I don't know, it was kind of like who was going to burst out laughing that year 2/3 of the way through, which was kind of a weird, fun game in itself. But I guess what I'm trying to say is I understand where you're coming from on the odd Irish Catholic twist to some of these things. I will say, well, we'll get to gingerbread houses later, but we definitely had a lot of traditions that we just did, and my sister kind of spearheaded being more into it than anyone else, and I'm kind of glad she did. Like, she didn't let me, being a dumb teen, like, ruin. She was like, come on, we're doing it, like, fuck you, I'd be like, yeah, okay, fuck me. Anyway, we'll get more into that later. How about this? We'll mix it up. Take it or leave it. Car commercials where the vehicle has a giant bow on it.
I haven't seen a commercial in years, but...
Even online? Like, someone comes to the door and they're like, honey, you didn't. And there's like perfect snow on the ground, and there's like a mid-sized sedan or an SUV, and there's a fucking bow on it for some reason, and they're like, for Christmas? For me? And it's just, they're so happy, and I gotta wonder... Oh, well, I guess lately it's been like, people come home from Black Friday shopping, and they're like, their neighbor jogs by or some shit, like in the winter, like, are you enjoying your exercise? But they're like, hey, get any good deals this year? Yeah, I had to wake up early, but I f***ed up my whole life. Got a good deal, though. And they're like, oh, I got a good deal, too. And they look across the way, and, like, they have a car. It's like, yeah, it lights up, too. It's like, fuck. I don't know. I only brought this up because I wanted to go on the record as saying that I am going to leave these commercials unless somebody would like to write into the show and say that they have received a vehicle for Christmas ever. I just wanted your thoughts, I guess, or if you can recall commercials of this nature.
Yeah, so I'll take the car with the bow on it, leave the commercial, because I feel like historically Christmas commercials are always the worst. And I guess I lied when I said I haven't seen a commercial in years. Megan and I have been watching Hulu a little bit lately for Broad City, and Old Navy, which always just has the worst commercials to begin with, has a commercial of like a middle-aged woman in a bath buying stuff from Old Navy on her iPad, and she's like singing the 12 Days of Christmas, and I think the joke is that she's a really bad singer, but it's so bad and it's so awkward. And Hulu it'll play the commercial 4 times in a row on the commercial break.
Like
and
some of these platforms
God.
venture into the digital age and advertisers aren't abundant. You can kind of tell when they're having a lean month and you get the same commercial over and over. I've noticed that on like, I don't know, Hulu, ESPN's app, YouTube even sometimes. There's months where
it's horrible.
A very short rotation. So you
ultimately leave it. Yeah,
but you would enjoy if there were a car in your driveway with a bow on it.
Only if it was a Tesla. If anything else is a waste of money.
If you're a fan of the show, you'd expect that coming. Am I right, Tom? Honka, honka. Okay. Take it or leave it. Drum roll, please.
Brrr. You said you weren't going to do that last episode.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But why would I say that? I love drum rolls.
You yelled at me for doing a drum roll. You were like, no, stop.
Oh, well, that wasn't me. It just wasn't.
That was Kyle.
Was it?
No, it was you.
Oh. Well.
Anyways.
I didn't want to look not cool. Thank you. I enjoy it. Gingerbread houses. And for the record, I just maybe was trying not to look lame in front of Kyle, admittedly. And I apologize, Tom. Because we try to have fun. We try to have fun. We just try to enjoy ourselves this holiday season.
I know that your Aunt Colleen has a gingerbread house like competition every year, right?
She's shockingly social media savvy when it comes to the gingerbread. Yeah, she posts like a mo. And lately, and it's kind of a contested thing in our household. The decision being decided, the most stupid sentence. I apologize for that sentence. But lately it's been coming down to, because it's been a heated, like decades old gingerbread competition that has now come down to, instead of like sheer skill and creativity based on what we've seen over the years, it comes down to likes and comments on our Facebook page amongst her friends. And some people don't agree with the scoring system. It has favored my cousin Chris and my team over the years, the Facebook voting, because usually our cousin Beth just comes prepared with like a groundbreakingly like amazing decor. Like last year she unwrapped a bunch of Starbursts, or what was it? Was it Necco wafers? Either way, she took all the pink of everything and made like a red to pink hue, like color splat on the roof. And usually we're like red M&M, green M&M, red. You know what I mean? Like that's like historically what roofs are. But she made this like paint splotch. I'm like, oh fucking shit. Like we did not come prepared this year at all. But then like we had some gimmick. I forget what it was, and people voted ours the most. When like she had like broken the mold in terms of what we thought we were able to do. Like she Steve Jobs'd the competition that year, and it just felt so unjust for her to lose. And lately over the years, we've all kind of gotten over getting worked up about it. But anyway, I take gingerbread houses. I think it's a great tradition. My Aunt Colleen over the years has very kindly made up the cream for it and baked herself the cookies that do it.
Jeez.
Go into the building. It's not a short process. And we order pizza that day and we turn on, what's that?
Said, is it a short bread process?
No, well, it's more of a gingerbread.
Damn.
No,
I tried.
Just dragging it through the mud. I like it a lot. And some of the candy from like 92 is still around in some of the bags and the boxes she keeps, which is fun.
Wow.
And yeah, I'm going to take it. I kind of brought it up just to tell that story, just like some of these have stories that come along with them. But hey, we're trying to do a show here. So what about you, Tom? Would you take them or leave them?
I've never done one. My only experience with a gingerbread house is when I moved into this apartment with these two guys from Craigslist, didn't know them, and there was like a gingerbread house on the table, but it was like June or something, and I just remember thinking, damn, like what is going on there? is someone eating this? What are you waiting for? But I've never made one, but I think that if you, Zach, and I wanted to have like a competition when I got there, or even just, if we all put our heads together to make the dopest gingerbread house, I would be very into that. So I'll take it for sure.
We'd have to get a kit and candy because I don't think I have them. I don't want to buy molds to cook this stuff.
Yeah. I can't afford that.
Because that's what it entails, like cast iron molds that you keep for years and like
what?
Experiment. Yeah, over the years, like recipe. There's been years where the cookie is like not as thick or crumbly or you know what I mean. Like only now, after like 20 years or 15 maybe, have the cookies been. There's been more of a consistency of like what you're working with. Like they used to be kind of more cracked when my aunt was still learning how to do them, and we used to be younger too, just running into the table and stuff, just. Like f***ing everything up. Like what it used to be was my Aunt Colleen giving all the parents a break and like, okay, give all the kids to me for like one afternoon and during the holidays and they'll just like ruin everything and it'll be the most stressful thing ever. Now it's a little smoother, but we'll see what we can put together this weekend. Maybe I'll hide the pickle ornament and whoever finds it first will get a prize or something.
Okay, I didn't know you did that.
Have you done that? Actually, we'll do that next. Take it or leave it. The pickle ornament game.
I'll take it. I feel like it showed up one day when I was already too old and all my like nephews or nephews? Cousins? Yeah, my cousins, sorry. They were younger, so it was like their thing. I kind of missed it. I wish I could go back in time and get stoked about finding the pickle for sure.
Well, I definitely can hide a pickle for you this weekend, and I don't mean that as an innuendo. I have an actual pickle ornament, and I intend on hiding it.
Is it Pickle Rick?
It is not, and I've kind of. It's tough being a Rick and Morty fan. Like, there was this video that surfaced of this guy walking into a McDonald's, jumping onto the counter and saying, "I want my Szechuan sauce. I'm Pickle Rick.
Right.
I'm Pickle Rick," and that kind of circle, and everyone's like references that fake Elon Musk quote that's like, "Rick and Morty fans must be smart, the smartest fans out there." You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so out of nowhere, it became the worst thing in the world to be a Rick and Morty fan. So I like. In hiding, have watched all the episodes and love them, and have never stopped thinking about Evil Morty even for a second. But no, it's not Pickle Rick. It's a pickle ornament, and I'll take it too. I think it's a fun game, even if you just win a coloring book or something. I think one year my Aunt Colleen did, $5 or something, or maybe some Tinseltown gift cards.
Heyo,
yes. But, for those at home...
That's the local movie theater, like the good movie theater in Erie.
And it was the only one for a while after the Dollar Theater closed.
Oh, true.
Very tragically.
My dad did all the HVAC in Tinseltown. Fun fact.
Oh.
Little HVAC fun fact for you.
Are there any not fun HVAC facts now? There's your weekly HVAC fun fact, folks. That's what people come for, man. Construction-related things that rhyme.
Okay.
Real quick, just before we move on, can you explain to everybody what the pickle game is for those who may not know? They probably gleaned it from what we've said at this point, but
I don't think I know it either. But essentially, you like hide a pickle ornament on the Christmas tree, and the first one to find it wins something. I don't know.
Right, and you were not involved with the decorating. This is usually you go to someone else's house, and if you find it first, you win a prize, but. You can't really get a head start. You got to wait for the rest of your cousins to show up.
Right.
Again, you weren't involved with the picking out of the tree. This is someone else's tree thing. But just a fun little thing. And it's green and it blends in. Some years it's really hard and doesn't still haunt me for all the years I've lost. No. Okay, let's do this. Let's do a couple, Mr. Catholicism Boy. That's the worst thing I've ever said to you. Or just the weirdest thing I've ever said, period, I think. I take it all back. I regret everything, and I'm sorry, everybody. Let's do a couple of quick ones. Advent calendars. Take it or leave it.
My friend Chris Lukey, who I met at Podcast Movement, just started a pop punk Advent calendar. It's like a Facebook event, and every day he has a new Christmassy pop punk song that he posts.
It's kind of fun.
I love it. I think it's so cool. I think like the different versions of an advent calendar are cool. I don't think I've ever done the like chocolate one though, but yeah, totally take it in any form.
Okay. I might have written down the wrong word, but I think what we had was an advent calendar, and it was an actual calendar that we had like these little Velcro little tiny pillows, and we would slowly over the course of every day decorate a tree. And the last few pillow Velcro ornaments were like a reindeer and a Santa to count the 25 days until midnight mass or whatever.
Wait, what? Velcro pillow ornaments?
Yeah, so there was like this thing you hung on the wall, and for us it takes many forms, right? Sometimes it's like a house with 25 windows, and you open them up every day, and it reveals. Right. Ours was these little 25 pockets at the bottom, and then there was an empty tree that was a fabric that would help stick to Velcro.
Oh, gotcha.
And you slowly decorate the tree over the course of the days. My sister would always totally f*** with my head before I was old enough to do math. She'd be like, "Oh, Pat, do the first 5 days. I'll just start on the 6th, and we'll rotate after that." So I'd be like, "Idiot," and I would do but what she was lining up was her putting the Santa on the 25th day, and that went on for like a while. But it was a good bamboozle on her part, for sure. Anyway, I'm going to take them. I like them only because my childhood memory is not necessarily... What do they represent? Do you know? I should have done more research for the show.
I don't know.
Fair enough. Moving on. Midnight Mass. Take it or leave it.
Take any, or leave any Mass ever? Because I think the Midnight Mass, is that specifically a Catholic thing?
Well... Was it St. Pete's Cathedral that was on Prep's campus in Erie?
Yeah.
I think they did a very beautiful one. I'm going to leave it unless it's something like a spectacle worth experiencing, if that makes sense, right? I suppose I understand the tradition behind it. If there's a good choir and a good setup on the altar, I don't know. Did you ever attend any?
I think Midnight Mass at St. James was actually like 9:00 or something.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I think I might have gone a couple times, but usually my mom was like, "Oh, we gotta go," and then we never did.
Did you go? Were you a go every Sunday family, or were you an Easter Christmas family?
I think it was most Sundays, to be honest. Out of fear more than actually wanting to go, you know. Catholics are really good at that.
Right. I guess this might be too much information, but our family always went every week, and my mom was very adamant about it. She's 100% Irish and was raised very strictly Catholic, as was my dad. And we would go every Sunday and get like kind of dragged, and by kind of dragged, I mean it was not pleasant when we would try to sleep in or like do
right.
You know what I mean? Like somehow. We would more often try to get out of that than school, for example. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
But then when my brother came out as gay, and he was an altar boy at one of the local churches, and the priest was, nothing bad happened. He just wasn't like fair, right? I mean, in the scheduling, it was nothing bad, like egregiously. I don't want to give the wrong impression, but it was mostly a scheduling thing, and how he, I guess, was implying he didn't want him around as much or something.
Sure,
and my mom cared tenfold at least, way more about like fuck your shit. Like this is it was like a bear protecting her cub, you know, like, and she quickly was not as intensely. Yeah, you know what I mean. I think it was definitely kind of a moment for her where she reconsidered a lot of different things that she had held dear for years. But man, that was a bit of an aside. But so Midnight Mass, they can be very beautiful, and sure, I'll take them if they're worth it. You say leave them all together?
Yeah.
Oakley dokley. Well, this is the last one for take it or leave it. Nativity scenes.
Leave. Although, I don't like have an attachment to the religious aspect of it, but my mom had this really old nativity scene, and I don't know if it was Christmas Eve, like before we went to bed, I think it's traditional, like you have the manger scene and Jesus like isn't in the manger, and before you go to bed on Christmas you put Jesus in the manger, or the parents do it while you're asleep or something. But Caitlin and I always did like putting the baby Jesus in the manger. So I kind of do have like a good memory of that, but at the same time, like I'm not gonna have one in my house, you know what I mean? You know my feelings on a lot of that stuff. So
Yes, indeed. I don't think either of us are exactly religious nowadays, or perhaps ever, but nonetheless, these are the traditions of our childhood and whatnot. I also accidentally broke one of your shepherds, I think, when I was a teen at your house.
yeah,
I don't think I threw it necessarily, but it definitely ended up breaking.
there was like a little football that was Cody's, my nephew's, and you threw it and it hit. My mom, like in college, made these like 3 wise men out of like beer bottles and felt or something, and they had little ornaments as like a head, and definitely broke the head off of it. Yeah.
Yes. That one gets more brought up more often than the denting of the new siding. And I'm surprised I still get invited back to your house. Although,
Or the
speaking
hole
of which,
in the wall, or
I don't know about. I guess
the wine
yeah.
on the brand new carpet.
I don't know if the carpet was brand new.
It was the rug that my grandma just bought my mom for her 50th birthday.
When would I have been drinking wine at your house?
On my mom's 50th birthday.
Oh, okay. So half of them happened that night. So that's fine. You have written here in the show notes after the take it. That was take it or leave it, everybody.
Oh no, wait! I got one more.
Okay.
The movie A Christmas Story. Take it or leave it.
Take it. I'm a fan.
One of the worst movies ever made.
Okay, that's fine. You're allowed to say that, and you're allowed to be wrong about the Beatles and all the things that matter to me. No. So after living in Cleveland, I have a newfound love, but my Aunt Colleen loves it dearly. We would always watch that. Very dry humor. I'm just a large fan of the movie. And there's the Christmas Story house where it was filmed in Cleveland has become like an odd tourist destination of sorts in the Tremont neighborhood in Cleveland. And you can go, and it's a really small house, and they have it all done up in the way you would have seen in the movie. And there's like a Christmas tree and the Red Ryder BB gun hiding behind the couch and stuff. So it's kind of neat.
That's cool.
I'll take it. While we're here on the movie thing, do you have a favorite holiday movie? Do you like Christmas Vacation? What's your favorite? What's your least favorite?
I do like Christmas Vacation. Again, I don't really go out of my way to watch many Christmas movies during the holidays.
Right. And this is separate from claymation stop motion specials. Right. This is like Elf.
I think Elf is definitely my favorite Christmas movie. Okay. And I know that last year you said you didn't really love it that much, right?
If I did, I must have been in a bad mood or something. It is perfectly suitable and a very good Christmas movie. The best way to spread cheer is singing loud for all to hear, after all, Tom.
Okay. And can I ask one more question? I know we're going a little over here. Maybe you're not. Who cares? It's our show.
Yeah,
One more question.
If Matt Pollock tweets at us angry like he always does, then whatever.
Fucking always does.
The haters are gonna hate, after all.
Real tree or fake tree?
Oh, I forgot the most important one. Also, sorry for cursing so much this episode. I know that's going to be kind of a downer to try to edit. I almost this year let myself believe a fake tree would be okay. I read up a little bit on how long or like what's more environmentally friendly. And if you recycle your real tree properly, that is, right? Unless you keep a fake tree for at least a decade, right? Like you have to use your fake one a lot to have a lower negative environmental impact. But yeah, the smell of a real tree, we used to cut ours down. There's something about it. When you're having a lean year and you have to buy a blue spruce instead of a Fraser fir, and the needles poke the out of everything, and you have to wear gloves while decorating it that year. I don't know. There's something about the smell and the process that I like very much. So I'm gonna go real tree. How about you?
Real trees are cool. I think I'd rather do a fake one just because it's easier. I grew up with my mom having a fake tree because she and my sister were allergic to the real ones or something.
Sure.
We had this really old fake tree from like the early 80s or something, and you had to put each branch on individually, and they were all color coded with like this tiny, tiny little piece of tape on it that was like from the manufacturer. And it was so hard to tell which one was which because the colors were all faded and falling off. And they were always just so damaged after being in storage for a year. I remember the year that we got the fake tree where like the whole thing just folded up. I was like, yo, this is amazing. Like it breaks into 3 pieces rather than 6 like our old tree, and they just fold down. It was great. Like it made me reappreciate the fake tree. And if you can get one with lights already on it, that's even a bigger win.
Well, we'll see how you feel about the smell and overall vibe of the Fraser fir we've acquired here
I love
at
it.
our apartment in Cincinnati. And we'll just see. We'll just see how you feel. When you find that pickle and you feel truly childlike once more, as Zach continues to drink this weekend. No, just kidding. But yeah, no, okay, fair enough. Fig tree it is. And it sounds like you guys kept your old one long enough to justify its environmental impact, which is a positive.
Oh, yeah, dude, like 25 or 30 years for sure.
Did you meet yourself?
I keep hitting the mute button on Skype.
Okay.
I don't know what the deal
You are
is.
really, I'm having a psychological journey here. So you next have written before the Now You Know segment something about a vegan eggnog discovery?
Yeah, so I have nothing against normal eggnog except that I'm lactose intolerant. Usually it doesn't manifest that much, but eggnog totally fucks me up.
Sure.
And if it were closer to Christmas, I'd say it's worth it. But we found some like vegan eggnog at the grocery store last week. Megan and I tried it.
Non-alcoholic, of course.
Right. It was.
I've never
made with
had it, truth be told.
You've never had eggnog?
Yeah, I actually don't even know what's in it. If you wouldn't mind enlightening me on the topic.
Let me look it up. I know it's eggs, probably heavy cream. I mean, it is so thick. I'll definitely I'll get you some if you don't mind. I might have to sleep outside that night, but
because of the toots.
because of the toots. Eggnog ingredients. Okay, so we got. Oh, come on, Wikipedia.
Well, you can just bury the toots in the sleeping pad I just bought off of Amazon for you. It's a 3-inch foam. I think you'll come to like it.
Bury the tooth. 3-inch foam. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, I didn't want, we only have one couch, so I didn't want one of you totally being out of luck.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I woke up with a sore neck on Saturday, and I couldn't turn my head to the left for until this morning, basically.
Whoa.
Still hurts pretty bad. So I might try to fight for the couch at least the first night because I'm still getting
Zach
some
doesn't
mobility. Right. Okay, so here is eggnog from, I don't even know what website. It's just within Google. 4 egg yolks, 1/2 cup sugar, 2 cups milk, 2 whole cloves, pinch of cinnamon, 1 cup of cream, teaspoon of freshly grated nutmeg. I disagree with that. Teaspoon
Why?
of vanilla extract. Because, dude, you don't need nutmeg, man. Just drink the fucking eggnog. It ruins it. It ruins it. And
That's a fucking piping hot take. And if I knew anything more about eggnog, I'm sure I'd have a lot to say, but I feel like you're coming in hot somehow. I need somebody to tweet the show. And you got so huffy about the nutmeg. Anyway, continue.
Nutmeg.
Okay, fair enough. But I don't know whether or not, but the thing is, you're leaving me in a weird position here where I have to go do a lot of reading, because next time I run into a conversation about eggnog, like at a party or something, someone's going to be like, oh, how do you feel about it? And I'm going to be like, well, I don't know, this whole nutmeg debate. And they're going to be like, what? That's never talked about. It's either that or well, it is a thing, and which side do you sit on? I'm like, I haven't done the required reading. So I just feel like, I don't know why I'm so upset at you right now for drawing me into the nutmeg debate. But nonetheless, I feel a little slighted, I got to say. I need you to explain your reasoning, good sir.
So anyways, the vegan eggnog was good. Maybe a little more coconut on the back end that I would like, but it was good.
How do we coconut?
It was made with like coconut milk and like coconut sugar, I think.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
And the toots were limited?
Non-existent, you could say.
Wow.
I mean, there's always toots. It's, you know.
Without bodily functions, our body wouldn't function, am I right?
Shut up, dude.
Hey. Happy holidays, everybody. That's all we have this week. No. Should we go on to Now You Know?
Yeah, and I've got a good one.
I am excited to hear it.
Now you know. Okay, so in my weekly or bi-weekly Google search for fun facts, usually they end up being a little short, and I want to give a little more substance. I found a good one that totally blew my mind because I've never really researched it too much. But tell me everything you know about velociraptors.
Right now?
Yeah.
They hunt in packs. They are a mid-sized reptile of the dinosaur era. If that's a thing. They have a good sense of smell, maybe. They, are quick, very athletic, leg-based mobility.
Okay, you can stop there because almost everything you said is wrong.
Oh, awesome!
Right? So
some bamboozles are bad, but I'm excited about this one.
So, I mean, I've seen bits of Jurassic Park. I think I was still a little young and scared when it came out, but I do remember the velociraptor scene where they were bigger than the dude, right? They're not enormous, but they were bigger than the guy.
Yeah, like at least 6'5", you know.
Right. Okay, so velociraptors are about the size of a domesticated turkey, being about 3 feet tall or less, 6 feet long, with most of the length coming from their tail. They are, and yeah, it turns out they end up looking almost like a bird in a lot of ways. They have, it says hollow bones, feathers, built nests for their eggs, and were thought to have behaved very similar to birds. And they have, from this, rendering, what looks like wings, and apparently they were solitary animals. There have been fossils dug up. Let me try to find this.
Sounds like they were running around like a bunch of chickens with their heads cut off, Tom.
Pretty much.
I appreciate that laugh, actually. I did not expect to enjoy that at all.
So from this article, it's from todayifoundout.com. Put a link in the show notes.
So they do not hunt in packs?
They don't. It says almost every fossil recovered of velociraptors indicates that they were solitary. There was even one fossil where a velociraptor was in the act of trying to kill a protoceratops, which was a pig-sized dinosaur, when a sandstorm came up and buried them both while they were still fighting one another. If they hunted in packs, there should have been more velociraptors at that find, particularly given the size of the protoceratops relevant to the velociraptor. So it's saying, the one dinosaur outweighed the velociraptor, and if they traveled in packs, there would have been many recovered, but there was only one, and that would have been like an optimal time for there to be a pack of them.
Sure.
And it was solitary. And I just thought that was really interesting. And the picture on here looks... It looks like a turkey with a really long tail. It's crazy.
Do you mind putting that in the show notes?
Absolutely. The whole website that I got this from, elemental.fm/reminiscent/54. You can find it in there. I thought that was super interesting. I would have had no idea.
Yeah, everything I said was based off of the Jurassic Park movies,
right?
Of which I've only seen 2 in its entirety. So I think I've seen 3 total, but only 2 complete ones. Oh, there's several? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think there's even a scene in one of them where small velociraptors, but they were behaving in a pack-like manner. So, you know what? Never mind. Again, I've only seen half of a couple and most of a few. So I know very little about dinosaurs is what we've learned. And that is very interesting. And the whole more feathers than we thought thing is also kind of a mind so
yeah, crazy.
Now I know. Now we know. There you go, Matt. There you go, Julie.
And now you know.
Gang. That's right. What is your highlight of the week, my man?
Pretty excited about my phone. That's fun. But I think real highlight, so in my job at Tesla, I've had 3 different crew leads in the year or so that I've been there, and they've all just been horrible, like not good leaders. Kind of like things work better when they just leave us alone, you know? But we had this guy for a week who ended up just moving back to Southern California, on this Thursday, but we had him for only 5 full days. And he was like, his name was Justin, and he was like the coolest dude ever. I just feel like if you were to like define all the characteristics of a good leader who got their team motivated, who got them to work hard and be happy with their work, like he fit every description. Plus like he's a musician. He toured for quite a while, plays drums, guitar, sings. He's done some boxing in his life, and you know, he's from Southern California, and I don't know, man. He was just like a super cool guy, and I'm really, really sad that he's already gone. But he just kept saying like, I'm really impressed with the work of me and my friend Jimmy, who I worked with, and he's like, if you move to Carlsbad with me, like right now, I'll get you a job on my crew as leads, making way more money than you're making now.
Oh,
it's like
California.
It's a suburb of San Diego, I guess.
Sorry,
yeah.
I forgot you said California. I, for some reason, thought Carlsbad, New Mexico.
But yeah, he was like, dude, you guys should come with me. I would love to keep working with you. Like, I don't know, man. We went out to the bar for like 3 hours after our last shift together, like after we were clocked out and, you know, on our way home and stuff. And he was just like a super cool guy. And he made me, even just for a week, I was like, you know what? With the right people, this job can be okay. Like I've hated it because I've hated.
Well, you could say that about most jobs, I feel.
Yeah, for sure. But like,
which is a testament to how good of a crew it sounds like you had at one point.
Right. Yeah, we had a pretty good crew with the exception of our one crew lead. So if we could have like our old crew back of like the 4 dudes that I loved and then him as a crew lead, it would be like a party every day. And I don't know. I feel like as someone who's trying to start their own company and be like a leader, I feel like it gave me a lot of ideas for just how to be a good leader, how to get people motivated, and how to make everyone just want to, you know, make some cool stuff together. And yeah, it was just a week, man, but damn, I'm like already, I miss him a lot.
Well,
but yeah, it was a really good experience, and I'm happy that I got to work with him. And he's the only guy at the shop who wore pants as tight as I do, so that was a plus.
yeah. Well, hey, it's the little things.
What about you?
In the little pants. Which of which I thought you owned 0 pairs, by the way, sir. Just kidding. We got our tree, and I hadn't had a tree since I moved from Erie, I don't think. I just had not considered it a priority, but I'm living with Jesse now, and we decided that we were going to go do it, and we did, and we got a real one, and it smells good, and we played this Bing Crosby album, vinyl that I got her as a housewarming gift, and there was cookies, and there was a little wine, and we decorated the tree over the course of the evening, and it was just a very pleasant December weekend. So yeah, that was my highlight. But my, you know, obviously very high up there is you and Zach visiting this upcoming weekend. This will air Friday, so I will be picking you up at the airport when most of you are listening to this.
Yep.
And that'll be my highlight probably next week, so I'll hold off on saying too much about that. But yes, 'tis the season to be jolly, and I feel jolly, and that is good.
Yeah. I'll be in Cincinnati with Pat and Zach when most of you are listening to this, and that makes me so happy.
Would you like to eat a giant pretzel with beer cheese at a German bar in Northern Kentucky?
Is there beer in the cheese?
I don't know what goes into beer cheese, but it's tasty, and I don't think that's how it works.
I'll look into it.
It's not like alcoholic cheese. It's just like, I just thought it was a phrase for tasty cheese, but we'll have to look that up.
Yeah, I'll look into it. I have to get weird about all that stuff. But yeah.
I wouldn't classify it as weird. It's just part of it, and who gives a fuck?
I don't give a fuck.
Well,
but yeah, either way, I'll eat some pretzels with you. Yeah, we're gonna hang out with Kyle and Kylie, the D&D guys, on Friday, and can't wait.
Speaking of Kyle, he was on last week. We were trying to promote the show Admirable in General, or
Captain and Admiral.
That's exactly what I meant to say. But he gave us our music recommendations last week. Do you want to take the lead on this?
John. Yeah. So Phineas, which was the first one, the song Break the Earth, was really funny. So back in like 2006, maybe, all of the Erie hardcore scene was like really heavy Christian bands.
Yes.
And there was a band particularly called War of Ages, and they were actually pretty big. They were from Erie. They were like Erie's pride and joy because they were like a world touring band, you know? And this just reminded me of them so much. And I don't exactly like it anymore, but there's like definitely a place in my heart for that. Like, I remember convincing a friend of mine who I hardly knew, but he had a car, to drive us to Cleveland for the Scream the Prayer tour at Peabody's. Right?
Just Scream the Prayer tour is it reminds me, what's the band Tyler James was in?
Oh, Still Frame Sky.
Yeah. Was that part of that scene that you're referencing?
No, it's different. This is like actually like the hardcore scene.
The actual hardcore scene. Well,
yeah.
My
Lake
sincere
Effect
apologies.
in effect.
Oh yeah, I remember those T-shirts, which was a play on Lake Effect Snow for people who aren't from Northwestern PA,
right.
Which is this phenomenon where when cold air comes off Lake Michigan and sweeps past Cleveland, it dumps diarrhea snow onto Buffalo and Erie, Pennsylvania. So they, anyway. I hadn't heard double bass in a while since visiting you in DC, and we're working on some like digital double bass on a couple of the mixes that you had rocking. This is maybe 7 years ago, but it was he definitely was right about it being the harder of the two suggestions.
It's funny to me because the song that I recommended 2 weeks ago was double bass the entire time. But the thing with like these kind of bands, it's a much clickier bass, so you're going to notice it more.
There was something about the style of it. There was something about the noticeable, not fakeness of it, but just like almost overproduced. It was just something about it that reminded it. There was something about it that took me back, like it took you back, right, to an era where, there's an old MC Lars song called Hot Topic is Not Punk Rock. It might have been that. Or anyway, basically it was just never mind, I'm getting ahead of myself. I digress. Double bass. Hadn't heard
very
in a while.
clicky. Yeah, I think that's what you're noticing. I don't mind it. I like it. But yeah, I mean, I like the song. It's not what I like listen to now, but that's all I listened to back in like junior year of high school, you know?
Yes.
So yeah, it took me back.
It's a pretty screamy song, so I don't like fundamentally enjoy it, but it was definitely, there was an era where that was sought after, I suppose.
And those are like some of the most fun times of my life. So
yeah, you're yep. Okay. Circus Survive, Premonition of the Hex. And might I say, these are some of the most metal suggestions, even if just name-wise, that we've had on the show, courtesy of Kyle of Captain and Admiral, which is going to be launching in the first quarter of 2018, as we mentioned. The band Phineas, Break the Earth is the name of the song, and his other was Circus Survive, A Blast from the Past. For you Seosin heads out there, you might be familiar. Premonition of the Hex, which is the dopest name for a song I've ever heard. But yeah, Break the Earth and Premonition of the Hex, I don't think we've even breached that type of metal territory. Metal-sounding song name territory, I should say. What'd you think?
I've never been the biggest fan of Circus Survive, mostly because it's, they're insanely good musicians and they play with a lot of different rhythms, and I feel like nothing is ever like, I don't want to say bouncy enough to sound like those idiots that are just like, oh, I like the beat, you know, but I feel like it's really hard to get into them because their music is so rhythmically sparse. I don't know if that's like, if that makes sense at all.
I got caught up on you saying it's dumb to enjoy the beat of a song. which
No,
I
when
would
people-
contest heavily.
When that's all people could talk about. I like the beat. Boom, ga, boom, ga, boom. Okay, yeah, we get it. That beat isn't every song
Tom,
ever made.
this is a debate for a different week. I can already feel it coming on.
We'll say
People who think good beats are good are stupid. Like, oh my God. Come on.
That's not what I'm saying.
Can't we be
what-
happy during the holidays for once?
What do you have for this week?
I thought we could do, for a very reminiscent Christmas part 2, what's your favorite Christmas song? Or songs, plural.
I think last year I chose that one. It was like Chris something who did the All I Want for Christmas Is You, but in a minor scale.
That's right.
Still a really cool song, but I think my favorite Christmas song is...
Yeah, take it back. Take it way back. Like, what makes you feel like Cookies and Snowmen and all the stuff we talked about this hour?
I definitely like Oh Holy Night if you want to go with like traditional. Like I did a cover of that like probably
You
7
did.
or 8 years ago.
On
that
your
I still
SoundCloud, if
love.
people look up T. Kells 182.
It's so old. Lots of pitch correction. But I think my favorite is Relient K, one of my favorite Christmas albums. It's what's the song called? The In a Chelsea's Deo or whatever. What's the song called? The Glow.
That might be-
You know what I'm talking about.
The 2 parts you just sang are one of the 2 titles, I'm sure.
Right. Angels We Have Heard on High. There you go. They do a great pop punk cover of it. And that's probably my favorite one. I wanted to do that for our school talent show, the Rudies.
Were you there when we did All I Want for Christmas Is You?
Yeah. I think I played drums for that.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I tried to get to you before we recorded, but you and I both worked today. My Chemical Romance did a cover of Mariah Carey's version of All I Want for Christmas Is You, which I say that, but it might have been an original of hers. I'm not sure, but she owns it now, so who cares? And we probably butchered it, but we tried.
Did you
to perform
play?
it. For the first 2 measures, and then I dove off the stage and ran around the auditorium giving people high fives because I hadn't learned, because I think I had basketball practice that week, which is kind of the my musical career in high school was. I was very interested in it, but I didn't have the time because I was playing sports, which were the majority interest at the moment.
Right.
So I dove off the stage and gave a bunch of high fives and then dove back on the stage by the time the song was over. And Eric Adamus, I believe, was singing for us.
Oh, my God, with the broken leg.
Yeah. It was either the most rock and roll or the least rock and roll scene ever in the history of music. No, the Rudy Awards were kind of cool. At our school, named after Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. It was a Christmas talent show, and bands rarely won.
Never.
But there was a person our year named Brittany Barco, who was. I disagree wholeheartedly, my good man. All she did, and it was the most gangster shit I've ever seen. She would just play a song on the piano and sing, and everyone else would like lose their fucking minds trying to beat her at this talent show, and like. Bands with strings and like dance numbers and comedy bits and all this stuff. And every fucking year, all 4 years, as a freshman, she won. She would just waltz out, sing the most beautiful fucking Christmas song ever. And she was good too. It wasn't like,
Disagree.
well, fuck you.
Average at best.
Oh my God. Have some fucking holiday spirit, Tom. Jesus. I don't know, dude. It was the most gangster shit I've ever seen. Whether or not you liked her or not, she just did it and won. And it was impressive. You have to at least concede that it was impressive, that it happened. Because even if you, who again, might I bring up, does not like the Beatles, that the majority of people just recognize that she was the OG, like she was built to win that
Like
thing.
she was gonna win, yeah.
Right,
sure.
exactly. It was for whatever other things existed, and it bred a very cool, creative holiday spirit sense of competition where people trying to beat her. And that kept her sharp. And we even made, in the sketch show that we had later on the school's TV program,
Yes.
we kind of mocked the process that it was an inside job to her to win every year, and that she was really like this mob boss character that was intimidating the deans to like bribe the judges to let her win.
And she was in the video, right? Like she was making
right.
That's fun of herself.
That's why I think she was so great, was because she was willing to poke fun at the whole thing herself.
Yeah.
She actually starred in the episode, and it was just a cool thing. It was very fun. We obviously lost the year we did the My Chemical Romance version of the Mariah Carey Christmas song. I thought we were going to get a sympathy vote because Eric Adamus had a broken limb, but for the lead singer,
just waddling
that year.
around stage, still
Just,
singing,
yeah.
in his like Elvis Presley voice that just like came out of nowhere for some reason.
Yeah, he would like stand still and like keep pulling his shirt down a little, and like was very nervous, visibly nervous, but he could wail a little bit. I do have to say, good for him. I'm gonna say probably what I said last year. Maybe I don't know if we did this specific segment last year, but Bruce Springsteen, Merry Christmas Baby, Santa Claus is Coming to Town, Beach Boys, Little Saint Nick, which I only saw because you had written down Hanson Snowed In, the album, which I never had. I feel like most of people that grew up in the 90s, most of your musical intake for a certain amount of time was what CDs were physically in your home or parents' vehicle.
Yeah.
That just wasn't near me, and my parents listened to Bruce a lot. My sister and brother both liked Mariah Carey a lot. At least her Christmas work. Beach Boys was on a lot of our mixes, and I saw that Little Saint Nick was a track on the Hanson album, and I just think Beach Boys rip up a few Christmas songs, but Little Saint Nick is definitely one of them. But those are my like three classics, other than Bing Crosby, etc. Like the vinyl I mentioned I bought Jesse as a housewarming gift. Mariah Carey, Bruce Springsteen, Beach Boys, they have to be on the list, mixed in with some of those old-timey variety show hour crooners, if you will.
Cool. Are you just smacking the shit out of your mic right now?
My hand was resting on the dresser that I use for a desk. Was it that able to be heard?
Pretty much every week, to be honest. But like,
towards the end where I just get excited about it.
Right. Just start.
I feel like I'm very like. Is that what you hear?
Yeah.
Oh well.
Hey man, it's what makes the show such a huge success.
There you go.
But hey, you wanna call it there?
Have we run out of stuff? Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. I can't wait to see you, my man.
Me neither. I'll see you when this goes live.
All right.
I'll be on my way to the airport at like 3 a.m.
And I will pick you up in the mid-afternoon here on Eastern Standard Time.
All right. Cool, man. Can't wait.
Love you, bud.
Love you too, man. See you.